Ladies and gentlemen,
Where are we on?
we're on. Welcome to my neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Okay, okay. So hey, how we doing? And Kayla Zara's in the house, and I'm here, and we are doing this and doing that. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we're having some this, that going on, but it's okay. Feng Shui is doing good.
Here on CBS.
On CBS, okay. You know what I'm saying?
NBC.
Spock, I'm trying to transmit. Do you hear my transmission, Spock?
Yeah, he was in town this week.
Captain, I really can't hear you through your butt end. It's really illogical, Captain.
You should have gotten to see him yesterday. He was at the Richmond Center at the Galaxy
Oh, you mean
Con.
the Dallas? Okay.
The real life William Shatner.
William Shatner was there?
Yeah.
He was the same one that told them to pretty much stop obsessing over him. Stop obsessing over him. Yes.
That was on Saturday Night Live, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But he goes to those things because he makes a lot of money at those things.
Right.
For example, if you want your picture taken with him, I mean, don't think I hadn't looked it up. It was $130. I didn't have
William
$130.
Shatner right now is 90.
There you go.
William Shatner, 90 years old.
He's not gonna last forever. Neither are we.
Spock, is there transmission through your anal gland? Spock. Captain, my anal glands are highly regulated. That's a very illogical question to ask. Of course, Leonard is no longer with us. But anyway, all right, this is the Gorgeous George Show. Good evening. Welcome, March 20th. And 2022, a lot going on. We're going to be talking about some things. We might even be teaching you the alphabet, how to, and if you got your spoon, you're digging in for your alphabet soup. We'll teach you, your little kids out there, the alphabet and some bad words to go with the letter that you choose. Yes.
I once tried doing that as a kid. I once did the ABC and tried to get the worst curse word for each letter.
That's right.
And I pretty much, when I got to X, there was nothing left.
That's right. So what is going on with you? How is your life as a whole? Are you doing good? You've been eating your Wheaties?
I've been doing very well.
Have we put your face on a Wheaties box yet, or what's going on?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's in the cards.
It's in the cards. Okay.
If Caitlyn Jenner could get on Wheaties, so there's hope for us all.
Okay. I
maybe the swimmer, the trans.
when I was talking
to
to this fortune teller one time, I was asking her, and she had liquor on her breath, and she said, my child, I've got your fortune for you." Mm-hmm. I said, well, let me tell you something. Will I ever get my picture on a Wheaties box, or will I ever get my picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone? She said, I'm looking right now in your crystal ball, and I see says the answer looks very hazy. Might be, but let me take another sip of the liquor first.
You could see, I'm surprised she wasn't on like peyote or LSD or something. She could have seen a whole in like the doors of perception.
Again, there are some that are gifted. There's some that are gifted, and there's some that are charlatans or make a mockery out of it. All right, so we're on. Why are we on? Because we can be.
I don't even know why we're on.
We can be on. Well, I mean, this is the way what it is. I mean, we've been doing this show for. Well, I've been doing it for 27. You've been doing it for 25. Or what? I keep forgetting. No, because I started Thanksgiving '94. Mm-hmm. Me and Magical Matt started it in the Thanksgiving in '94. So now this is 2000. So yeah, so it's going to be come Thanksgiving. It'll be 28 years for me. You came in '97, so it'd be
97.
You were
the last century. I was in.
You were part of the. You started on the show in '97. Of course, we know that you played the part as my attorney.
Yes.
Played the part as my attorney. That was in '97. So, if the mathematical equation is correct, it would be for you. It would be 20. Well, actually, no, it's 3. So it'd be 24. Come.
Yes.
Am I doing the math right? Or no? Yeah. So because it was 70. Okay. So yeah. So it would be for you. It'd be 25.
1997 is beat the 20. The silver anniversary.
24, 25. So it'd be 20, 25.
Yes.
Okay. So there was like a 2.5 year difference. So I was doing the show 2.5 years before you came on. You were doing a show with what's his face before you were on my
Tommy
show.
Sotos.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
He was. He had his own barbecue.
I was in high school.
He had his barbecue place out on the boulevard.
He was very.
And what was his?
I haven't seen him in years, but he was a great guy.
What was his nickname? What was his call name?
Oh, that's right. I forgot his last name.
Yeah, well, he used a
funny
name like I use,
like,
you use.
like Bojo or something. That's something weird. Yeah.
Okay,
but Tommy Sotos was his name.
So you started public access when then? When would you start public access?
Well, actually, I started with you and Tommy.
Well, you started with me, but when did you do it with Tommy?
Tommy around the same time.
The same time.
I became in demand actually for about 20 minutes.
Well then, so your buddy Brent, when was it with Brent?
Brent, I was never with Brent.
You never did a show with Brent.
Never did a show.
Okay.
I didn't know Brent then. In fact, all I know from Buddy Hawkins' show was what I've seen on videos.
Okay, because he did an interview with Dirt.
Yeah,
and of
but,
course,
I've appeared on live performances with him.
Yeah, he did an interview with Dirt, and then of course I did my
The
interview.
Woman of Dirt.
Yeah, I did my interview with Dirt, Donnie Corker. We know who Donnie Corker is, so that was unique and different. And yeah,
That was your 15 minutes of fame.
Well, that was his 15 minutes of fame.
I think it was more of his hour and a half of fame.
Well, it was an hour and a half. Well, it was about an hour of fame or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
I was thinking of the movie that was made. I'm sorry.
The movie that I was on. Oh,
that's
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you listen to Spider Mites of Jesus.
That's right.
And you see me, Gorgeous George, in parts of that movie.
Yes.
Gorgeous George is in parts of that movie. Yes, I am very good, and that's how that works out. Spider Mites of Jesus.
Our friend Jerry Williams.
Yes. So,
I've never been in a documentary. Not that I could think of. I've never been interviewed. The one that was made about us. But
that documentary. Yeah,
but never about another subject. That was unrelated.
Well, I mean, you made it big. You were in the big time, and thanks to moi. I give you the keys. I give you the keys to the car, to the Cadillac, and you made it. You were made on big time because I give you that door and you came in.
Yes.
And we
when opportunity knocks, you answer.
That's right.
I never turn down.
And we have to. Okay.
No. Just hold that. Just hold that. Just hold that up.
Yeah, okay.
We're good.
Technology sometimes can be a little bit out right now, but that's fine. We're doing it. We're using this off of a phone, but this phone is better than the other two options that we have. So
yes.
That's how that works out.
It looks like it works. The picture's very good.
Yeah. So.
Is that an iPhone?
This is an iPhone.
Wow.
An iPhone. It's a little bit behind.
Thank
when you get an iPhone, you get another iPhone.
Thank you, Steve Jobs.
Steve who?
Steve
Jobs. Oh, yeah, right.
Well, you know what? What I found out the richest man in the world is right now it's Elon Musk. Okay. He replaced.
I thought it was Rockefeller.
Used to be Rockefeller, or he was up there anyway. But anyway, what happened? It used to be Bill Gates for many years. Then it was just for a short time it was Bezos of Amazon, and now Elon of Musk. And I said, I don't know anyone who owns a Tesla. All my friends own old cars. So, but listen to this. I was on the way over here to your palatial mansion, and what happened was, I passed by the House of Pancakes, and there's a Tesla right next to it.
The International House of Pancakes?
Yeah, I never knew there was a Tesla dealership.
Yeah, it's right behind the International House of Pancakes.
And if the price keeps going up of gas, those Teslas are starting to look pretty good.
Well, now actually gas has gone back down a little bit. So gas is right back down at $3.99. It was as high as $4.39.
It was actually, I've seen it close to $5.
Well,
and in parts of California, it's
in Virginia, it's $4.39 at the highest, and now it's back down at $3.99. So that's a good thing.
Well, how it works is it's really weird how the price of gas works. It's what happens is it goes up, okay, and then people said I'm going to drive less, and people do drive less, and then the price goes down. So it keeps on going. They can't really. They have to sell it, so they realize if they keep it going up and up and up, people aren't going to buy it. So
what goes up must come down.
Exactly. That is
spinning wheel, spinning round.
The old joke is
Put your money on a stone pony. What's
on
that?
a painted pony.
Painted pony, and let the spinning wheel ride.
I saw a blood.
Got
Sweat,
no
and Tears.
money. You got no whatever the. Okay,
David
anyway.
Clayton Thomas. He came to Richmond.
I thought that was. Is that who it is?
Well, he's the lead singer of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He's no longer.
Okay, you're right. But I don't know why I thought it was the Comets.
You were thinking Bill Haley.
Bill Haley and the Comets. Okay, now
No,
I'm thinking.
Bill Haley and Comets was
Well,
Rock Around the Clock.
I know my music. Well, yeah, but I thought that was also a secondary song they had. No.
No, well, Bill Haley was basically
yeah,
a 50s performer.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
late 60s performer would be Blood.
So Blood, Sweat, and
the
Tears.
hippie
Blood,
music,
Sweat, and Tears. Okay,
hippie
yeah,
music.
Right.
While
And
the-
of course, no longer. Well, there are a lot no longer there. So so obviously.
No more Bill
So,
Haley either.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He was great.
Of course. But that's what it is. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to be here forever. This guy might be here forever, but I know I'm going to be here forever, ever and ever and ever. I'm going to, it's the year 3000. You'll be here there for the year 3000.
Should have yourself frozen.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be mummified. Seriously, I'm thinking about being mummified and, being preserved, and everybody wants to come and see me. They can come and see me, and
Like Ted
they
Williams.
can visit. Well, he was frozen. It was a big deal. He was chronologically frozen.
Yeah.
They can come see me, and the plexiglass. They can't break the glass. The plexiglass. I'll be there.
They say Walt Disney is
Yeah.
cryogenically frozen too.
Yeah.
That's the rumor at the Epcot Center. But what I think the way it goes, I've seen enough science fiction to know that you have to be still alive to freeze you, because once you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
And so you can't. And I think there was a big hullabaloo about the guy who actually created the show Different Strokes. His name, I forget his name. Dick Clare was his name.
Different.
And what happened was
strokes
when he
for
died.
different folks.
When he died, they froze his body, and there was, and of course,
Who's this now?
You probably
Dick?
seen Dick Clare.
Okay.
If you ever watch Different Strokes, you see on the credits created by.
Not the old man that's on there.
No, it has nothing to do
Mr.
with the
Drummond?
characters.
Mr.
No,
Drummond?
I think
Okay.
this guy had no children. So what happened was, this is really wild. What happened was his family wanted all this Different Strokes money from syndication and stuff. He goes, no, he's technically still alive because he had himself frozen. He goes, no, he's dead and he's frozen. He's just frozen, really. He just froze. He just mummified his body. You can't restart a dead
Key
body.
thing is different strokes for different folks. If you stroke it good, you'll get the jackpot.
Sly and the Family Stone.
No.
That was a good song.
Sly and the Family Stone, Everyday People is what I'm thinking about.
Oh, that one too. Yeah,
Everyday
that's right.
People.
That's the song. That's
Everyday
right.
People. Yeah.
Different
Well,
Strokes is a line in it. Yeah.
And now, there's one thing, other than this show,
Yeah.
that you and I have in common.
Why?
Well, you know what it is. Take a guess.
Girlfriend?
No.
Particular girlfriend?
One
That I
thing
know
other
about.
than you being on my show for all these years,
Yeah.
we have one thing in common that we did way before we did the show. We will get multiple choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you give bubbles or that.
A, gynecologist.
Yeah.
B, teacher.
Teacher.
C, disc jockey.
Yeah.
Or D, meteorologist.
Okay, let me break it down. Meteorology, I change the channel to the sports whenever the meteorology
Well,
comes
you
on.
one time did the weather
Yes,
meteorologist,
yeah.
and then Mount St. Helena had
Teaching.
St. Helena had how many inches?
Yeah, that's right.
St. Helena had 6 inches.
Helena
And
in
we're not
in
talking
Montana
six.
got
We're
6
not.
inches.
We're not talking.
We mean
six,
snow.
We're not talking snow. We're talking about 6 inches.
And, yeah.
Okay.
And then okay, teaching. We try to educate the people. They should put our show on the educational channel.
sounds-
Okay, and then there was gynecology. That's more. I'm more of a hobbyist with that. No, but disc jockey, I would assume, is the one you were thinking
Yes.
of.
Yes. Now let's get into that, okay? Because we're talking about the show. We're going to talk about shock jocks in a moment. This is what the show is going to be about. And we're going to get into a little history lesson, let you all know. But let's talk about, you go first. How did you become a disc jockey? How did you become a disc jockey?
Okay. I always wanted to be a DJ when I was a kid. Okay,
me too.
Whenever they had a live remote at a record store or a department store, and I said, I got a tag. I wanted to meet a lot of the DJs. Actually, eventually became friends of mine.
Right.
And so then I got into just how wonderful they were, because I love anybody who speaks for a living, talks for a living. And then the second thing was then I went to college, and they had a college radio station, and I saw that all the rock and roll and jazz and everything, they didn't have enough classical DJs. So I said, I have a feeling I could maneuver myself.
What year was this now? What year was this?
Would be gives out my age, but it was 1979. And then what happened was I did get a show on the college radio station, and then for 4 years I had that show, and it was wonderful. Then after graduating college, I went to Ireland, and I tried to do a lot of other things, like filmmaker and actor and stuff.
Now, how long were you in Ireland?
But the only job I could get was a DJ on a country music station.
How long were you in Ireland?
I was in Ireland for 3 years.
And what made you go there?
I'd never been anywhere before. I always wanted to travel. And let me tell you something. When you, all my life up until I was 22, all I wanted to do was travel, and nobody would take me anywhere. So then when I turned 22 and graduated from college, I said, well, I can't complain anymore. Now is the time to travel. And I've pretty much been traveling ever since. So the first thing, I'm not kidding you, 6 months after I graduated from college, I went to Europe. I lived there for 3 years. I lived in Ireland for 3 years. My mother was from Ireland, so I got to meet my grandmother and all these people that never came to America. And they were very helpful with me, and my uncle especially got me a job at the local radio station in the middle of the night, and that was quite an education because I worked on a not a college radio station, but a country music radio station.
Well, I was a DJ right out of high school. I went to high school, then I went to J. Sargent Reynolds. I took Dale Carnegie School of Public Broadcasting, Dale Carnegie School, broadcasting as far as speaking, voice inflections and speaking. Then I would believe it was 1989. 1989, I worked at the old WXGI, which was a WJDK, which was a pop station. And it was a notorious country station, or it was not notorious, but it was a former country station, which it actually went back to country, and then it went to a sports station. But in the intermediate time, WJDK was the initials of the owner, John David Keatley.
Pop?
And so they did top 40 in pop. And
was that Pop the guy? I remember a guy Pop at WXGI.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't
there.
He wasn't the same one. So they had ran that basically. And so then I did about a few months there, about 6 months. I ran the Dick Clark and Casey Kasem's back to back. They ran those two, top 30 and then top 40. Dick Clark had his top 30. Casey Kasem had his top 40. And then I had my little show that I did. Was there for about 6 months, and then of course this is in the book. Then I did my famous Dr. Ruth Westheimer imitation about being sexually aroused on AM radio station. And about a week later, I was told that I was fired.
Yeah, that happens to everybody.
And I just said, well, why could that be? And they told me the reason why. Of course, we knew the reason why I was fired because I did a Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and I said, are you sexually frustrated? Do you know how to masturbate? Well, you go out and masturbate. And so masturbate.
Was this during drive time?
This was on the weekends, and I did
the weekend
in between the Dick Clark and the Casey Kasem, and then I did that impression, and that's how I got fired. So then I went to another station back in '91. It was 106.5. It was a top 40 station. 106.5 Mix 106. I don't know if you remember that. That was back in '91. So Mix 106, I was there for a little bit. I was actually Graveyard DJ.
That's what I always did.
Graveyard DJ was good. And it was fun. And then, of course, they changed the format and got fired.
There you go.
There you go. But radio, always wanted to do radio, always wanted to be a radio, and always wanted to do radio.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do entertainment. I always wanted to do entertainment, and obviously, that's how I got started. That's how I got started in radio. That you got, of course. So that's what we have in common. We have that one thing in common. We're both disc jockeys. We were both disc jockeys at the time. Now,
And I always got, and every time, and I had this boss in Ireland. He was the typical boss like you'd have in America, a station manager. He was actually the owner and the station manager.
Right.
And he was constantly complaining about what a terrible show I was doing. And then when I finally quit after 3 years because I wanted to come back to America, he said, "Wow, you were great. You were great." I said, "Yeah, well, he goes, the next time you come here, if you want to work again, I'll give you a raise." I said, "Why?" I felt like saying, "Why didn't you give me a raise while I was working here? I'd probably still be here."
how was the weather in Ireland?
Constantly raining.
Okay.
Constantly raining.
Like Seattle, pretty much. It's like Seattle.
It's I would assume might even be worse.
How was the nightlife in Ireland, which is
Nightlife was pretty good.
okay?
The only problem in the UK is that the bars close like 10 o'clock or so, 10 or 11 o'clock.
Kind of like what they do in Arkansas.
And
Little Rock.
but what happens is it concentrates the drinking, before 11 o'clock. I think it has changed since then. To boost the economy, they've actually had it like the 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or so.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we talk about entertainment, we talk about TV, we talk about radio and TV, and then we have this quiz. We did it on the fan club. We asked the question: other than Howard Stern and other than Gorgeous George, name a famous shock jock. And of course, people were saying. I think it was one saying.
Don Imus.
Well, that didn't come up, but that's a good guess, Don Imus, because
When I think of Stern,
Shock,
I think of
well, yeah, because
Imus
Don
too.
Imus and Stern used to go against each other. Our good friend Hank Cook said Warden Downey Jr.
He was
Warden
more
Downey Jr.
television,
Yeah, it was more TV and whatnot. And you did a local one that used to be here.
Well, I just was being funny.
Yeah, well, local. Yeah, it used to be here, so no. And so we look at it. So besides Howard Stern and me, Gorgeous George, name from a jock. And if you go back and you think about it, we think of Robert Weston Smith. Mm-hmm. Robert Weston Smith, you say, who is that? Mm-hmm. Pourquoi? Who? Why? Who?
He was the best.
Tell us, who was that man?
I mean, you want me to?
Well, come on. Yeah, well, I know
It
who
was
is.
Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack.
And
Wolfman Jack.
He was shrouded in secrecy from it.
And he was a shock jock, similar to what I do. He said, "Ladies, get you closer to the radio, and you can play with my knobs."
Ladies, we'll get closer to the radio and you can play with that.
You can play with my knobs. And the thing about him was, this man was over, because we forget about Wolfman Jack. We forget about, he was the pioneer. He was the bee's knees. He was the beginning of shock jock entertainment. Everybody thinks Howard Stern and Donny Imus and Howard Stern.
Well, he was tame compared to them.
Wolfman Jack.
For his day, yeah.
Well, but Wolfman Jack was the man, was the godfather of shock entertainment. Wolfman Jack, Robert Weston Smith. Now,
He's from
the interesting thing is that what he did. Well, you know this, and you probably know,
Yeah.
but I'll tell the story as well, as well as I know. And we learn a lot. And when you out there listening to the words that come out of my mouth, get a number 2 pencil and jot down everything that comes out of my mouth, and you'll get an education. If I say something, it's the gospel truth. If you don't take a number 2 pencil out, you'll have a dunce cap, and we'll put you back with a dunce cap and put your head in the toilet and flush it. All right. He did the hell was it? American Graffiti, was it?
American Graffiti, yes.
American Graffiti.
That's the first time I think anyone ever really saw what he looked like.
American Graffiti, and that came out in 70. What was it?
74.
Oh, I thought it was 71. 74? I thought it was 71.
Yeah. George Lucas made it. He made
Yes.
Star Wars.
Yes. So American Graffiti, and it was talking about his life, and what he would do. When he was young, he had radio. He was given this radio, and his radio is transistor radio, and he was able to go ahead and do things. We'd listen to it. He started a station in Mexico. And Armed Forces Radio got involved in it, and he was doing a show for the military. And from California to New York, people were able to listen to Wolfman Jack. Broadcasting in, I don't know where in Mexico, but in Mexico. And people were able to listen to him on the transitional radio to him through California to New York, listening to it, everybody, and of course the military and the armed forces. This man was before his time, and we forget about him. And the last thing he did before he died was he was married with children. He was on Married with Children, and I think he was on another show, and I can't remember, but he was on different shows. And then when he died, he was in like 95. That's when I first started the show. When I first started my show, you know, and I wanted to be just like Stern. I want to be like Stern. And I knew about Wolfman Jack too, but not to the degree, you know, because I was more about Stern, because he took the candle, or he took the baton, if you will, took the baton and went with it even further. Went with it even further and paid his dues. But the pioneer, the Mac Daddy and the pioneer, we forget this, was Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
And he is buried in a private place. And I think his old...
Where he's from?
Yeah.
I think he's from New York City.
Well, he's buried in North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
He's buried in North Carolina, but it's in a private area in North Carolina. So people can't... So, very interesting.
Well, I could tell you,
about it.
yeah. That, you mentioned Mexico. The reason why he was so popular in the 1950s and early 60s was because in Mexico they had no laws against wattage. You could just boost it as high as you can go. I think he was it may have been 250,000 watt. It could have been as high as 500,000 watt. And it went all over America.
Right.
Now, if he had that same station, even in Texas, he would have to follow more of the FCC rules and have it only 50,000. You know, 50,000 watt is actually pretty good. 50,000 watt, there's one station, WRVA in Richmond, that goes pretty much all over the South and part of the Midwest because of its
radio.
But most radio stations are only maybe 5 to 10,000.
I'm on a
And
Mexican
it's very local.
radio.
And but now with the internet, you could watch your favorite radio station. You can find there's a website that has your favorite radio station on it, so you could watch. You never have to be at a loss. But when I was a kid, I just loved sports announcers and loved getting baseball games on big radios at home, and I would love to every once in a while to try to get WNBC, and Wolfman Jack was on there.
Yeah.
And actually, he was on WNBC in, I guess, the early 70s, right before he was on the Midnight Special, and around the time after he was on in American Graffiti. And what happened was he once he left WNBC to go on the Midnight Special, there was a vacuum at WNBC, and then they put all these shock jocks on. Imus. There was, in fact, it's shown in Howard Stern's movie,
Yeah.
Private Parts. Imus. There's, I think, Soupy Sales, the comedian. There's Howard Stern, who clamored to get out. And once he got on WNBC, he had a miserable time with the guy Pig Vomit that was running.
Pig Vomit. Oh my God.
Played by my friend Paul Giamatti.
Pig Vomit.
Who was in the movie the John Adams.
WNBC.
Yeah, that's
WNBC. Yeah.
Very good actor. Yeah. And in fact, he the guy who played the head of WNBC, or the station manager, Paul Giamatti, according to Howard Stern, he knew nothing about the guy. He just saw a picture of him. And I mean, the Paul Giamatti, yeah. and he said he nailed it. He was exactly that guy.
WNBC.
He just followed the script, which was
Stern
very well
is the man. Stern paid his dues, and he is, and of course, Stern was Sirius Radio. Back in the 90s, we were fighting to keep him on the radio station. Remember that?
WVGO.
Well, no, it was W. Was
in Richmond.
Was it VGO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we tried to keep him on. We had to do that, and we tried to have a campaign. We had all these signatures to keep him on the local radio station. Of course, the Ukrop brothers, they went ahead and did their thing. The Ukrop brothers went ahead and did their thing. They were the mighty super chain the Christian correlation, which is nothing wrong with being, that, but they were playing demagogue, they were playing Jesus, and they figured
They're
that
telling
they could tell
everybody what
that
they shouldn't be listening
to that, and they should take Stern off, because this, that, and the other. So they did, and they bellied up because of this.
Well, you want to know
like
something?
this right here.
It caused a ripple effect because once Stern was off in Richmond, he started to be off everywhere else except for major big cities. And then at that point, Stern, and everything was changing at this point. I mean, could you really have Stern's humor and comedy during drive time when kids are on their way to school? I mean, I had no problem with being an adult at the time, but so then they, about that time, they said you want to be on like cable radio. Basically, you pay Sirius, and that Sirius is and he's been there ever since. I think he makes $100 million a year.
Right.
And if you know anything about DJs, and you were a DJ, I was a DJ. Everyone at the radio station makes more money than the DJ. The person who puts the record on, the needle on, makes more money. He's a union
job. And then you had the war between Donny Imus and Stern. Donny Imus, they're from Texas, and being his form of comedy. And of course, they had a little feud between him and Stern, and they were doing their thing. But these were pioneers. They were both good people, and they were pioneers in the thing. And this is when I saw something, when I started the show back in '94, part of the preface was I saw this old black man drinking juice, August Moon.
That's right.
And I said to myself, well, if that guy can be on TV, so can I.
Yeah.
So the old man drinking juice, the old black man, he was like told Whitey's going to do you in, beware. And of course, then we were doing that opposite of him. Then you had Race and Reality. You had like a Nazi show on in between that, the Nazi show. So
we followed that show.
We followed that show. You remember that night when I almost got in a fight with that guy?
With the skinheads. And let me tell you what's weird about that show. We were getting, when we were doing a cable access show, we were always constantly getting letters. I think it was all a letter writing campaign, and they were just trying to drive us off. And I even said this on the show. I said, the neo-Nazis follow us, and we're the bad guys.
Well, the Nazi people came on with their show, and of course, I almost got into a fight with that guy. I told him, you need to get the hell out. We're time we get a show, you need to get the hell out. And of course, then later on, we had that crap explosion.
Well, you know what? Actually, that getting back to the Nazis, they're the neo-Nazis that did that show, Race and Reality. It was a crazy show. Yeah. They had their day in the sun here in Richmond when they orchestrated an appearance at one of the malls of David Duke, the head of the Ku Klux Klan at the time, the Arch Grand Wizard or something. Right. And there was enough protesters there that I think it caused a fist, not as bad as other, but it did cause a big deal. And that was of course they loved it, because anytime there's a riot, the neo-Nazis feel vindicated. They want a riot. They want the confrontation.
So then that station went through a lot of shows, but we had longevity, and our show lasted.
And here we are.
And the mundane reverend and ministers and that crap explosion, uttering the F word. Yeah, and of course they put that show on just in spite of me. But when we told them, listen, you might want to get them off, they finally went bye-bye. Yeah. And they got off. Of course, we know the history of that show against me being there, but they got off anyway because they did themselves in.
It was basically a lot of the shows, especially that one, were basically just how outrageous we could be, and basically it was like a bunch of 16-year-olds learning the F word and just talking, like a bunch of kids smoking behind the 7-Eleven. Talking amongst themselves, and it's just an entertainment, My mother used to get so mad at me if I started cursing. She goes, "You must think you're a big man. You must think you're Mr. Tough Guy when you use those curse words." And I said, "Believe it or not, my friends think so." They're very impressed when I was 16.
So we did it. We put it on, and we presented a show. Mm-hmm. Had musical groups, musical bands that came on, and I was the one that got noticed and known. And they called me, or they called Howard, the Gorgeous George of New York.
That's right.
Howard was the gorgeous George of New York, because people in this town of Richmond, Virginia, start knowing and seeing Gorgeous George on TV every Wednesday, or it was every Thursday, and then switched to every Wednesday. In the summer of '99, we were on every freaking week.
You know that there was
Every freaking week.
There was what was very interesting. We had shows usually Tuesdays through Thursdays over time, and what was kind of weird was we would sometimes have really late shows, like 11:30 shows, like this one, or we'd have a show like at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, which is and more people would watch it when it was 8 or 9 o'clock. But at the same time, we were also open to more complaints.
Paper hat crowd.
Yeah, complaints
people
about
that didn't even live here. We know who we're talking about without talking about them.
But when we did it late, I always said, "Hey, who's watching?" I mean,
Well,
I think when a show is on late, they should be able to put nudity on and cursing on and
much of anything
you
want to do.
The old ladies are asleep at that point.
But what we had going on,
the religious nuts are asleep at that point.
We had that going on, yes, and then we developed having the paper hat crowd come out. We'll refer to them as that. And then we were forced to go Safe Harbor channel or Safe Harbor time. And I said, that's fine, because I would rather be on in a later time anyway, because then I have more liberty to be me. And I've always been me. I never changed who I am. And I do what I do, and I do what I do with regularity. Not irregular, but with regularity. And we did that show.
Yeah.
And we did that show for the longest time.
Now it ranks with The Simpsons. One of the shows.
I like to think
How long we've been doing that
that
show?
if that station had awards, okay, we would at least get the golden enema. We would have the golden enema and gold, or have an Oscar for the performance of a lifetime.
We had a lot of good.
Have an Oscar for the performance of a lifetime, because the show itself got people excited. The show got people in Richmond, Virginia talking, and they were excited about it, wanting to know what was next. Musical bands, people, frog legs, lesbian pedestrian.
There was
A lesbian pedestrian by Frog Legs, yes,
Greenbaum.
Susan Greenbaum.
A lot of good.
Granny's Aliens,
And then you
the Masons.
You interviewed from Florida, Susie Quattro.
Susie Quattro.
That was the jewel in the crown.
The bee's knee.
Yeah.
That was next to the book. That was one of the best things that I ever did, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
One of the best things I ever did was that interview with Susie Quattro. Learned a lot, and we had a camera crew in Miami Beach, Florida, that was pretty much filming it. And of course, then the book. They're the two things of my
the book
highest.
was a recent thing. Yeah.
No, but the two of the proudest things that I've done. Of course, doing the show.
Show the book.
And well, the book is right here. The book is right here.
You can get it on Amazon.
My face is right there, and it's right there. And we've already read chapters.
Actually, if you put it in your bookshelf, you'll see George staring at you. Read my book.
Staring right at you. And this book is being sold, unlike what a few might think.
Yeah.
This book is being sold, unlike a few imbeciles might not think so.
It's on its
But
third.
it is.
It's on its third printing. The first two were smeared.
Well, listen. We can't control what that goes on there. They're going to use Vaseline. They're going to use petroleum jelly or KY jelly. I can't control that. If they want to smudge up the pages and whatnot, people are going to do that because they're going to get excited, especially the women. The women, they're going to leak out. They're going to leak out, and then they need to get lube down there and some KY jelly, because this book is that exciting.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Of course.
In fact, I actually commented on. There's always talk about rewriting it or something, and I always said, no, leave it the way it is. It's in your voice.
Yeah. Well, it's
If James Joyce would have written it, I mean, it'd be considered a masterpiece. It's the way you actually have that style where you just keep, writing and writing and writing. It's actually, I think it's a.
Well, I mean, we have. There's different
It's
stuff,
like
but I mean, it's not
know,
nonstop. It was a different,
Sean O'Casey was a famous playwright in Ireland, and like James Joyce, who from Ireland, and his stuff was written in the dialect of the voice of the people. He didn't try to make them all sound like English professors. He made them sound like how they speak, and I think the way you write it, you don't want to give it to some English professor who will just translate it into something kind of dumb.
Well, I mean,
that's why Huckleberry Finn is such a big a work of art, because it's actually spoken like
we know
the
that
boy,
what had happened,
speaking it.
rather than getting into it, which I don't want to get into, but we know exactly what happened with the Vanity Press and then with Amazon. The Vanity Press and with Amazon, we know about all that. But that's okay, because I have another Vanity Press will be at less than half of that rate, and they will fix it up, and then it will be placed in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
The book is being sold. The book is being sold as we speak, and then once the Vanity Press puts their hands on it, they'll make it correct everything, which it should have been done the first time, but of course it wasn't. And then we looked at it, we missed a few things, but that's okay. But then once all that is done, it'll be in Barnes and Noble, and you'll be able to get your book.
Get the Nobel
You'll be
Prize.
able to get your book on the Gorgeous George website, which we're promoting that as well.
Oh yes,
The Gorgeous George website. We're hoping as soon as we can get everything locked in, we're going to migrate the videos on YouTube and stick them on the website. Unlimited bandwidth, and I'm going to have to do a lot of research about this because I don't know how to read the HMTL code. We got to get a person, but we're going to do it. HMTL code. We're going to put it out there, and it's going to be layered out there. So we're going to have it, and these imbeciles are not going to be able to steal it. Imbeciles are not going to be able to. Not going to be able to steal it because it will be there, and the videos will be migrated to the website, and YouTube can. Well, I'll say it, even though this is going to be probably put on YouTube. YouTube can take a flying leap. Google can take a flying leap. Follow your guidelines.
Who owns YouTube? I think.
Follow your freaking guidelines. Is all I got to say.
Rupert Murdoch, I think, owns YouTube, or I think he does. And then Google owns YouTube.
No,
So
Rupert
that would
Murdoch
be
owns National Enquirer.
Sergey Brin and Larry
Rupert Murdoch owns the National Enquirer.
Larry Ellison, and then the other guy, and then who was the other one? Amazon, Mr. Bezos. You're going up against 3 billionaires.
Bald head, fucking bald head of that guy too. He just has a damn cue ball.
You talking about Bezos?
Yeah,
Let me tell you something.
He just has a fucking cue ball.
I tell you what he looks like. He looks like Lex Luthor. I think he's actually superseded Lex Luthor as far as evil and banality.
So you say that basically that you haven't seen much, but we want to see more. We're going to do more. Now, people are wondering the status of the public access channel.
What? They still have public access?
Do they still?
I've been on the internet for probably 5 years
they're,
already.
They're wondering if they still have a public access channel. Yeah. And my question is, I don't even know.
I think it's there. I guess people do.
Is it even being used?
Well, you know what people, I think, use it for when they do. I don't know about the pandemic, might have put a crimp in it, but I think what happened is the people are now using public access, which is great, like we were doing it, just the one-time live show, and then taking in those days, the VHS tape, and then, trying to sell the VHS tapes, trying to put it on another station or something. But now with the internet, everyone could be on have their own show. People tell me, you got to see that show. You got to hear that podcast. You got to see that. I said, I don't have enough time in the day.
The thing about it is, but the question is, and I don't know. You talked to Joe. You talked to Joe down there, So are they still having a public access channel?
Sure they are. I think they are.
They are.
Yeah.
I just don't like the situation of it being wide open.
But let me tell you something. everything's out the. They're rewriting everything right now. Television is not like it used to be. Remember the TV guide? You'd read the TV guide and look, oh, I can't wait to watch this show. Well, now there's like 20 different times you can watch a particular show now. You can actually, and then find it on the internet on CBS.com or somewhere, and then watch it at your leisure. The other thing, movie theaters. Movie theaters, I go to the movie. I have that thing where I can see any movie I want, the Regal Unlimited, and guess what? I'm in the theater, and I'm like, there's 2 or 3 people in the theater. John, they're not making any money selling popcorn to all of us because I'm not buying any. So it's everything has changed. I was in New York a few weeks ago. Broadway. Broadway, it's they're not selling as many tickets. People are scared of COVID. People have to wear masks. Have to have their card. My vaccination card looked like an old newspaper by the time I left New York, and I was only there 5 days.
Right.
So, I mean, everything, entertainment is constant. I don't even know how comedy clubs are going to do. Comedy, they're opening up a few comedy clubs.
You know, I don't know. TV is still watched. People still watch TV, but everything, you know, internet, there's good things and bad things.
TV is not going anywhere.
TV's, you know, it's not. No.
And Zoom is
TV's
bigger than
watched
ever.
and whatnot, and you watch your news and you watch 60 Minutes. I mean, you know, I got who's doing 60 Minutes now?
I saw Scott
Ann
Kelly
Kirk
on there.
Ann Kirk or
Leslie
Kirk?
Stahl is still on there.
Leslie, okay.
Steve Croft might still be on it, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's a few people on there.
Ed Bradley? No, he's.
Oh, I tell you, Anderson Cooper sometimes on 60 Minutes.
Anderson Cooper?
Yeah.
Ed Bradley? No, he's still.
Yeah, the ones you remember are all gone.
What's the
you know, Dan Rather is
Morley
still
Safer?
dead.
Morley Safer, yeah.
In fact, in a few cases, like I think Andy Rooney and Morley Safer,
Yeah.
they announced their retirement, and both of them died a month later. I mean, died a month after they announced it, meaning that they tried to do it almost to the point their last breath was was being on 60 Minutes.
Well, they were being ticked. They were being timed. 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's actually 43 minutes and a lot of commercials. That's
Well, it's timing that way, basically, you know.
Well, 60 Minutes has just the best time slot on television because it comes on right after the football games. Yeah. So if you're too lazy to change the channel from the CBS football games, then you watch 60 Minutes.
Yeah,
and that's
well,
I don't know about now, but in the day that was a boon for CBS News, and there's also the first profitable news show. Before that, news was a public service that the networks were kind of obligated to do, and now they say, oh, we can make money from it, selling ads and having high ratings. 60 Minutes is you know, a wonderful show.
Well, so this is what I'm going to say now. We have a lot of shows that we've done throughout the years that are not even on YouTube.
How many?
A lot.
Like
a lot.
We would do probably an average
lot.
of like 10 a year.
And there are
and
a
you're
lot
talking
on
so there's 200 or 300 shows.
VHS tapes. VHS tapes. A lot of that stuff is on. And it needs to be transferred. You know, so many shows. So many freaking shows.
Are you putting it out there? Did you want somebody to
We're going, well,
volunteer their
I've already
services?
got somebody that's going to probably do that.
Because I got pretty much all the shows I appeared on.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much all the shows since 1997. You said
You got them all?
They're there. They're
Yeah.
around. I never threw out I don't throw out my VHSs that have anything having to do with friends or family, or certainly this show.
Right, so there's a lot to do, a lot more that we're going to do, and we'll eventually have that done. But the website I'm excited about. The website will be up. We haven't had one in about 10 years, over 10 years.
We have the page, yeah.
But the website is coming up. The website will be up. It's going to be up, and we're going to have, well, this is going to be funny. I have to say this is going to be funny. I'm going to have, you remember the thing with glass, you know, the punch out?
Yeah.
A little small little thing with punch out?
Yeah.
We're going to have some of those imbeciles where we punch them out. The punch out, Glass Joe and all that. Well, we're going to have some of those imbeciles where we punch them
You
out.
should make a video game like it.
Yeah. Like that thing all the time.
They take off like dragons.
Knocking those bitches out. Knocking every one of those bitches out, you know?
what's one Grand Theft Auto or something. Follow Gorgeous George on his rampage.
So how's Boris doing?
Oh, Boris. I haven't done a show with Keith Van Allen in a long time.
Okay.
So, but I speak to him on the phone all the time. We always mean to do another show. So.
Boris?
I'll do a show with anybody, really. That's. I don't
Do a show
turn
with
down. I
anybody?
don't turn down anything.
You can do a show with anybody.
Well, I mean, friends of mine.
Okay. So,
But by virtue of fact,
well, I
they
mean,
want me on the
so
show. They're friends of mine.
will Boris butt for you?
No, it's Buttle. It's not butt.
I thought
Butler. Buttling. It's
Okay,
actually.
I
did not know this until recently.
I
that
thought-
Butler. Where does the word butler
thought
come? It's
Boris-
actually the act of butler.
I thought Boris would always say that he would butt for you.
But for me.
Yeah. Was he all right? Doing okay?
Yeah.
He's doing good? Okay.
He sounds great.
He sounds good.
I haven't
Okay.
seen him in the flesh in a while.
Okay. So I caught you. I happened to be twirling around. I saw you on the other one. You were wearing this crazy jacket, blue sky jacket.
Oh, I was wore that tonight.
The hell is that?
I did a
Blue
show
sky jacket.
with another show. I was on another show with Mary Elizabeth, and I was wearing this. We were actually in a play.
Tappahannock, or where?
And I was wearing the jacket. It's my
Okay.
jacket. I'm always like looking for wild jackets.
Yeah,
wild
well, I like loud clothes too.
Actually, and then when somebody actually, while we were just doing the show, we do it in public. We walked by and said, "I just love your jacket," and I stopped what I was saying. "You like the jacket?" And then there was a sky, and then I just showed me with I said, "Look, I blend right
It's
into
like
the
a
sky."
blue sky jacket. I never
It was
seen
a beautiful jacket,
Like I said, yeah. I mean, I like loud clothes myself.
Yeah.
So that's you already know that.
But
Yeah.
actually, I'm glad you mentioned. I'm kind of subdued tonight, if you can believe this.
It's all about the
But-
Cowboys. all about the Cowboys over here. So,
Yeah, you got the cow, but for a change. But
Yeah.
I mean, when we were doing the show on television, and I always tried to wear very wild looking colors and everything. So when people were changed the channel, our show visually wasn't a whole lot different from other shows. So when they changed channel, they saw my jacket or something you were wearing. So I gotta watch. These guys are dressed really wild. Let's see what they're. We gotta listen to what they have to say. And then they heard what they wanted to say, and then they can choose whether to stay with us or not. But the whole point is getting them to stop while they're changing the channel, because they're just going to flip through the channel. It's hardly worth it. We could be talking. We could be the burning bush.
Listen, there were a few
the Ten
shows-
Commandments, and they're not going to.
There
listen
are a
to
few shows where I was showing my pecker, and that's an actual stopper right there. I was showing my pecker, so I mean, the females were pretty much getting off on that, and so that's when I did that. I mean, it was a peck a pick.
It was the Brent Favre hour.
It was a
the Brent Favre
It was a-
comedy hour.
it was a peck a pick, a pick a peck.
I remember you had a
Picture pecker.
Didn't you have
Picture pecker.
Didn't you have a guy with a big nose? One of your characters, Pecker.
Oh, yes,
Pecker,
yes,
that's
yeah.
double deckers.
Yeah, triple decker. Yeah, Yassau.
Yasser. Yeah.
Yassau. Oh yeah, you remember? Yeah, you remember that? You were the nerd.
I was
and you were the pen dispenser thing on you. Pen dispenser. You were the nerd. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. There are so many shows. And,
A lot of
so many
comedy.
damn shows that we have, and funny stuff. More funny than you see. More than these detractors. Funny stuff. More than these detractors can even put out.
We tried. I mean, I always
Funny stuff.
In fact,
Funny stuff.
I tell you, a part of our chemistry as far as comedy goes, George.
Yeah, but
every time
yeah, but
George usually thought of the skits, and I tried to
Improv.
embody them. And
Improv.
it was all improv, but usually George would say, and then the guy walks in and falls on the floor, and then I would say, how do I make that funny? And then we would brainstorm and figure out how, a guy walks in and falls on the floor. That's not, I mean, that could be funny, but it could always be funnier.
Yeah.
And we always try to build on that type of thing. Yeah.
Improv is the way to go.
Yeah.
Improv.
You have to remember. I was in an improv. I tried out for an improv company and didn't make it. And even though I had this resume of television on the Gorgeous George show, evidently didn't watch the Gorgeous Georgia, so I didn't get I didn't. But then what happened was I think it only performed once or maybe twice or three times, and then it kind of fizzled out. I like to think, well, if you would have hired me, maybe it would have lasted a whole dozen times.
I want to say this to detractors: this is what it's about. There's no mistake. There's no happenstance. When I have done something on TV, I have people that enjoy what I do and what we do. So detractors, this is what you can do right here. People that have known about me, that have followed me and know exactly what I do, they're the ones that enjoy the show, that enjoy the chemistry that we have and the people we've had. We've had a lot of shows, and a lot of shows that we are still need to convert. Need to convert some of these shows right back on DVD, and we will do so. We'll convert some of these shows on DVD and put them back and put them on the internet. Put them on the internet. Put them on the website. Put them on the website. They'll be there. So this is what I'm saying. I don't, I have a resume. I have been doing this for a long, long time. And I do it with pride. I do it with a lot of feeling, a labor of love. I do it with a lot of pride and feeling and a labor of love. So again, if you don't like, this is what you can do. If you don't like, that's what you can do. This is what you can do. If you like, sit down, take some good notes, and enjoy. Get your butter popcorn. Go ahead and play with whoever you need to play with.
Your joystick.
Okay. Scratch your balls. Get your balls and play with yourself. Yeah. But no matter what you do, sit back and enjoy what we do, because what we do, been doing it for so very, very long.
Yeah. When we perform, there ain't a dry seat in the house.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I can perform in orchestra, ladies, that tantalize your vivai and make you move around, make a squirrel to move your butt on the dance floor, hands in the air, say what? Say what? I'm here, I'm your boogeyman, and that's what I am, and I'm here to do whatever I can. On the dance floor to move your butt, squirt that squirrel's nuts, chop those nuts, to move your butt on the dance floor.
You're the poet laureate.
I'm a lyrical rhymer.
You're the poet laureate of the 7-Eleven.
I'm a lyrical rhymer, the poet. The poet I am. The
poet laureate.
The poet am I. Am I or I am or am I?
I take a lot of pride in what I am.
Yeah.
According to Merle Haggard.
That's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah. We improvise. We tantalize. We do all kinds of lie. Well, we don't lie.
We fantasize.
We fantasize. Tantalize. Rhapsodize. And fingerize.
Yes. Yeah.
Your vivai.
Now, I understand you've been watching a lot of All in the Family lately. You like All in the Family?
I've been watching a lot of All in the Family, of course.
Yeah,
watched
great show.
And
that was a groundbreaking show, almost like Howard Stern. I mean, I never heard a guy. I mean, he said hell and damn, but in those days, you never heard people on comedy shows use those words. And also, All in the Family had it looked like it was on a stage. It always looked like a live performance had a look about it, right. And you watch it when you're a kid, you're watching it and you just like to watch it. But then you watch it years later and you realize they're talking about very serious stuff, the stuff they don't talk so much about on network television anymore.
Carol O'Connor was a genius. Carol O'Connor, Archie Bunker. Carol O'Connor played a very controversial character, but he was a genius and what he did, and very, very much a human side. Had a human side. His character had a human side, and it showed very much. Of course, at the end, with the kid, Danielle Bourgeois was her name.
Brisbois.
Danielle Bourgeois.
Brisbois.
I
She had a French name.
Yeah.
Danielle
So
Brisbois.
she was.
She was a child actress.
And then she grew up, and
Yeah.
God, man, she was hot. She's my age now.
Yes.
She's my age. She was a hot.
But
looker.
you know,
Tell
On
you
the
what.
Family was interesting. That I saw him interviewed long after the show was over. He was doing at that point. Carol O'Connor was doing In the Heat of the Night, and what happened was he was on the Bob Costas show, and he was expressing a regret that they were trying. The original intent of All in the Family was to show how stupid and ludicrous conservative politics was, and bigotry and everything. And then what happened was it had a backwards effect that he becomes like a beloved anti-hero, All in the Family, a man who speaks for the silent majority, and Carol O'Connor in real life and the producer Norman Lear were like the biggest liberals in Hollywood, and they were both kind of dismayed that their reaction was that people said, finally, conservatives were saying, finally a man on television that tells it like it is. This before Fox News and everything. I remember the Meathead.
Well, yeah, I was going to say Rob Reiner and Carol O'Connor. I
both liberals. Yeah.
But what was funny about Carol O'Connor and Rob Reiner, you could see them. You could see the smirk when they were. You could see when something was funny. You could see Carol trying almost ready to laugh, ready to break a laugh or whatever. And all that. Of course, the most famous one was when Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, wasn't that good?
Sammy Davis Jr. was up there and all that. That was hilarious. And then what's that guy? Barney Hefner, Aaron Melville.
Well, that was Alan Melvin was on. He was on the Archie Bunker's Place.
Barney Hefner,
which was actually more of a watered down version. It wasn't as controversial that second go round. In fact, Norman Lear I don't think had anything to do with that second go round. But the other characters were no longer on there. They killed them off.
And the spinoffs with Maude.
Well, that was really good.
Maude, yeah, sorry. Jefferson's. Of
no,
course.
I was thinking of Adrian Barbeau.
Well, Maude,
Dorothy from the
Boo Arthur.
Yeah.
Maude, yeah, she's of course, the Golden Girls.
Well, actually,
they were the Golden Girls.
Yeah, well, that was actually Maude was an intelligent show too. But
the Jeffersons
and Jeffersons and Good Times, they were all spin-offs from those.
And then, now of course you had one with Sally Struthers that didn't last long.
Oh, that didn't. Well, that
Sally Struthers with the glorious.
I remember Burgess Meredith was on there. It was
Yes.
just called Gloria.
Yeah.
But the Meathead, I should say, Rob Reiner was on this is in 2016 when Donald Trump was running for president, and he was on some, just like I think, some talk show or something. And
Colbert.
some guy said, and the host said,
Stephen Colbert, Colbert.
It might have been Colbert,
yeah.
and he said, now you were the Meathead on All in the Family. If Archie Bunker were around today, would he have liked or supported Donald Trump? And Rob Reiner says, Archie Bunker would have adored Donald Trump for president. Which kind of tells you everything, whether you want to vote for Donald Trump or not, who's still probably going to be the nominee in 2024,
I don't know.
and could win if the Biden maelstrom keeps swirling down the drain. Yeah.
I think that basically there's a lot. There's a lot of things that Biden has done that's good. There's some questionable stuff that's going on, but there's a lot of things that Biden has done good. Look,
I think Biden is doing fine. It's just that the situations.
Infrastructure and all that.
The war in Ukraine.
What he does with the war.
The price of gas going up. He has little to do with a lot of. He didn't tell them to.
And what gets me is
Ukraine,
you go to these gas places, you see a picture of Biden that says, "I did that," and all that.
Well,
crap.
those are put up by.
Yeah, they're put up there. The picture of Biden says, "I did
trolls.
that," and I take those things and you see.
Take them down.
You see, I do. Every time I see one of those things, I tear it up.
But they just
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But it doesn't change anything. Always remember about the price of gas. In fact, don't even blame any president, even if Trump was president. You can't blame
Biden
any of them.
has done some good
because
things.
Let me tell you something.
The infrastructure.
In other countries, they don't have.
And he's
Biden's not their president.
Right.
Their price is even worse.
But he's also done some things trying to help the economy out and trying to, the economy. It's a slight inflation, but it's tameable. It's manageable. So
we don't have the Russians shooting at us like in Ukraine.
We'll listen. Hopefully,
the sanctions
that we put on Putin, because Putin is a bastard. Vladimir Putin is a
No.
bastard. We know that. We knew that from a long time ago. But we're the sanctions that have been put on. The sanctions are there that have been put on. So we'll do more if we need to do more. And if we have to do aerial attacks, we'll probably end up doing aerial attacks. But we'll wait and see how that plays out.
I don't know. I think they're trying to negotiate a peace because the last thing we want to do is get in any sort of Vietnam type situation.
I don't think
defending Ukraine.
I've always said this, and I'll say it again. Russia was our biggest threat. It's not China; it's Russia. China has been an ally, and we owe China a lot of money. Russia has always been the threat, even the days of Reagan with the Cold War with Gorby. Of course, and Reagan said, Gorby, tear down that wall, so I can see all the German women naked. All the German women's naked running around, we'll do that, Gorby. But again,
Reagan probably wanted to see Marlene
again, the issue has always been Russia. Our problem has always been worrying about what Russia is going to do. And so therefore,
Well, I mean, they became an ally.
and they want to change,
They're still
make
kind of
Ukraine
an
the Soviet Union. They want to change the Ukraine into the Soviet Union again, and that's what he wants to
They
do.
want to bring back the Soviet
And
Union.
Zelensky, or the president of the Ukraine,
Yeah.
Zelensky, he's trying his best to keep it together. If they can, I don't think. Look,
It's a big country, Ukraine.
I don't have a
It's
crystal
big.
ball to know what's going to happen, but Putin is a tyrant. Putin is a tyrant. He is a dictator. And so there's no two ways about that.
You won't believe what I was watching before I came to this show.
Okay.
On Netflix, there's a show called Servant of the People, with Zelensky. Before he was the president, he was a comedian and an actor where he plays the president of Ukraine. It's sort of the style. It's subtitled. It's in, I don't know what language it's in. It's either in Ukrainian or Russian. I don't know which one. Probably Ukrainian, and I don't know the difference. And all I know is Kyiv is the all I know is Kyiv is the Ukrainian pronunciation, and Kiev is the Russian pronunciation, and they prefer to hear Kyiv because they don't like the occupying power, the would-be occupying power, renaming it Kiev. So what happened is, you watch this show, and I watched only a little bit of it before I came here, and it's sort of like that show 30 Rock. It has sort of that same style, and Zelensky's actually a very funny comedian.
Is he?
Yeah, and now he's the president of the country.
Is he better than Smirnov? Yakov Smirnov?
He's not a lot. He's probably a lot like Yakov Smirnov.
Okay.
I can't tell because
Yakov.
he's speaking Ukrainian while Yakov, I only know him speaking English with a Russian accent.
Yeah.
You know where Yakov is based?
Yakov.
Yakov has a show
Yakov.
in Branson, Missouri. He has like his own theater, and he does all those Russian jokes. He goes, I have Russian Express card. Don't leave home.
Don't leave home without it.
Don't
Yes.
leave home.
Live home
He
without it,
goes,
and then,
our number one show in Russia is the Love Barge. I mean, these are Yakov's jokes. I think they're funny jokes.
So, and then some of the people in Russia are being held in their own country because they're against this. So people in Russia are against all this crap that's going on, and they're being held against their wishes and are being tortured or whatever. So that's a bunch of BS.
Well, in Russia, I think.
It's a BS, basically.
Okay, this is two things are going on in Russia right now, from what I gather. One is there's just like in America, even when America goes to war, like in the Iraq War, there was a sizable amount of people in America that were protesting the Iraq War against America. I mean, did not want America to be. Well, same in Russia. Because of the internet and stuff, there are people protesting against. Now, America, you could protest. I'm not so sure in a totalitarian, Putin-led government that they have all these. I mean, this is a guy who poisons people. His challengers in London and places like that with slow-acting poison. What was it, dioxin or something? So then, and the other side is that they also the state news in Russia is sort of like Fox News. They only hear what the Russians. So they think everything. They think the Ukrainians are the bad guys that were trying to start all this trouble, and so that's why the Russians are saving, and Putin is saving the day for Russia by invading the Ukraine, which is all a bunch of nonsense.
Well, at the end of the day, we don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't have the tea leaves or the crystal ball to know what's going to happen. But hopefully, it will be a finish. Pretty much, it will finish in the right way. I don't think by trying they're trying to take that country or take them and turn them back into the Soviet Union, or take that part of land and turn them back into the Soviet Union is what need. I mean, that's what he wants to do. So
do you know that the Russian? I only heard this a few nights ago. The reason why they seem to really clamor over time for Ukraine, because they claim the seat of Russian society was based in the Ukraine and then moved to Moscow. I did not know that. And that's why they're always wanting their homeland. Almost like the same way, I guess, America and England. It's like the mother country.
Well,
we've never invaded England wanting to take over England for us.
We have all that going on, and we have a lot going on, and we just keep going on. I think that because gas prices have gone down. So that's a plus. Gas prices have gone down. Now they need to go down a little further. You heard me right when I'm about ready to say, I'm going to say it. If it gets worse, we might have to consider the pipeline. This is what I'm saying. We might have to consider the pipeline if it gets worse.
I tell you, I didn't realize this. I think I've mentioned this on another show, but I mean, there was I remember the energy crisis in the 1970s, and there was the whole point of that was that there was a limited amount of oil in the world. But I found out there's plenty of oil in the world, and basically think of it as the oil OPEC, the countries that do all the oil. Think of it having a hose, a pipeline, and they crimp it like a garden hose, and then of course, there's so little of it to be available, so the price goes up. The supply and demand. And then once people aren't buying it, then they open it up a bit. Then they open it up a bit. Yeah.
It doesn't help with what's going on with Russia. It doesn't help with what's going on with Russia. I was going to say, you read my mind. Supply and demand. Supply and demand on that.
And let me tell you something. People said, well, the price of gas was cheaper under Trump, even though Trump had nothing to do with it. What it was that it was $2.20 a gallon during the pandemic when nobody was driving cars. So of course it went down. Now people are driving cars again.
This was going to happen no matter who was president.
Exactly.
In Russia. So this was what Putin
was nothing to do with
what Putin was going to do was going to happen no matter who was president. I think Biden is doing good. Biden is doing a good job. Biden is doing good. Biden is doing good, and he will get a second term. I said it.
I hope so.
He'll get a second term.
I mean, I hope so for the good of the country.
If Trump runs against him, he'll get a second term.
Yeah.
Trump runs against him, he'll get a second term.
The guy, Bernie Sanders, a lot of the progressives claim that it has, like I mentioned earlier,
Joe Biden is the last of the true moderates.
Yeah, but said that the price of gas has gone up. It is actually the companies, the oil companies, found an opportunity. They're having greater profits than ever. You would think they would bite the bullet along with everyone else. No, we're biting the bullet. They're having victory parades for the profits they're making. They use any situation, the war in Ukraine as a reason to boost the prices up.
Biden is the last of the true moderates. I've said this before and I'll say it again. In another 10 years, both parties are going to break up. Meaning that both parties are going to fracture up. You're going to have the pure radicals on the right and the radicals on the left, and then the moderates on the left and the moderates on the right, and in between, you're going to have four parties.
Well, that's how it is. A lot of countries, coalition governments.
Bob Lynch called it right. Bob Lynch, called it right. He's going to get his wish. We're going to have
the libertarian.
We're going to end up having
libertarian.
Four parties altogether.
You know what a libertarian is, don't you? Libertarians is a conservative who smokes pot.
Yeah. So it's going to break up. It's going to break up to that vein. So I want to say, let's get it right. Let's say it right before we close up here. The Gorgeous
I'm only on page 2. I got so much more to say. No,
right. The Gorgeous George Show. I got to be up at 5.
Okay.
5 in the morning. The Gorgeous George Show is going to be there. The Gorgeous George Show has the landmark, has the history. We have a lot of shows that we did, And the Gorgeous George show was based upon the ebb and flow of this man and me. The show itself was based upon this man and me and our comedy. It wasn't based on trolls. Never was based on trolls. Let's get that straight.
As long as I don't care who laughs at the show, as long as they never stop laughing.
So it's about Gigi, and it's about what Gigi is all about. Okay?
Right on.
That's all I got to say about that. One Mona Lisa, one Leaning Tower of Pisa, and only one Gorgeous George. We'll see you few. We'll see you maybe next week. We'll see you soon. Woo!